I'm here in Covent Garden on my way to the biggest and best Burmese restaurant in London.
Noticing the obvious.
Noticing the obvious.
Burmese cuisine is not the most familiar to Westerners, but Dan Anton has been successful in bringing the flavors of Myanmar to London through his popular restaurant brand Lahpet, which started as a stall in a Sunday food market 8 years ago. And he did it without any prior experience in the food, catering or restaurant industry.
So my dad is half Burmese. He grew up in Yangon and left just before the junta came in, late 50s, 58, something like that. So he got out with my grandma, my grandfather and his siblings and came on a boat to the UK, yeah. They settled in South London and my grandma was still cooking traditionally. You know, I'd go over there on Sundays and eat mohinga, pork curry, balacha.
So since childhood?
Yeah, since as young as I can remember, you know. So that's my first sort of culinary memories of Burmese food. I was brought up with chilies and fish sauce and strong flavours, dried shrimps or whatever, nuppy from a young age. So.
Okay, so how did you get the idea and the confidence to start a restaurant?
The thought of working in a corporate environment for, until retirement was painful. So I was big into food. I loved cooking. I've been brought up around food. So just, got this bee in my bonnet about opening some sort of food business. First, it was like inspired by a trip to some remote area in Sardinia where I had these crazy sandwiches. I was like, I want to bring that back to London, and then it morphed onto salads. I was working, in the St Paul's of the city, and other places I couldn't get a good salad, so I was like, we can do salad so much better. Let's open a salad bar. And then my dad and I were just discussing my plans for the future. And I'm like, well, why are you focusing on salads and sandwiches? Why don't you, why not do Burmese food? You've grown up with it. You know about it. It's very underrepresented, So that's where it started to build the idea of opening a Burmese restaurant.
After the idea came, the first thing Dan did was execute it on a small scale.
I did a business plan and I went to meet some investors and they said, well, it might be a good idea, but what have you done? You haven't done anything. You're just working in an office still and you've got a business plan. So they said, you've got to get off your backside and demonstrate there's a demand for it. The idea was to do food markets to get it going. Couldn't leave my job, so I had to do the job and then do the food markets on the weekends. So come Saturday morning, I'd be buying produce, getting a meat or fish delivery to my home, and then my brother would come round and we'd cook. And then big pots of curry or ohn-no broth, all sealed, ready to go in this big pot. Salads and whatnot, all prepped, and then we'd shove it in a car on a Sunday morning, this tiny little Yaris or something, and we'd hired, and then drive down to Burmese and erect the stall and get cooking for the day, and did that for about a year. We got an article in the Evening Standard, a little snippet about us. It all kind of started to come together a bit, and we were in Time Out as well, a mention of us. I was like, how do we move it on from the market? I think I realised I couldn't do a restaurant with me being the chef, so I was looking for a chef, a proper chef, a Burmese chef. So I think I'd been for a few beers with Zor before then, and he'd been down to the market.
After taking on Zor as head chef, the next step was to execute the idea on a slightly larger scale.
We went down to London Fields and found a warehouse type vibe place with a kitchen in the back to take on. I mean, it was a cold, wet evening on some dark industrial estate in London Fields. This street, and it was always like, "Are you sure? You know what's going on here?" So yeah, we took a lease there for a year. Went off to IKEA and bought a load of stuff to make it look nice.
So wait, did you get the investors?
No, we did that on our own. I got a government grant for 25k and had a bit of money from the market. My dad gave a bit of a helping hand, but we did it on a slim budget.
And it was a success?
It worked, yeah. We did a year there. It was great fun. I mean, learning from the ground up. I mean, the market stall was nothing. I mean, now we're running a little restaurant kind of thing. Tough, but rewarding. It was suddenly your plans are coming to fruition, and it's working, and then a great crowd of people in the area who became our customers. So.
After successfully testing at the food market and in the smaller temporary warehouse location, Lahpet officially opened its first restaurant in Shoreditch in 2018. And today you can officially say you're a chain?
Not a chain, just two.
Okay.
I try and avoid the word chain. I mean, financially, in terms of, retirement one day, a chain is what it might be. Not too big, not talking like Wagamama's or Pho or something like that, but
a brand.
A brand with a few sites, I would say. But yeah, so we've got two, one in Shoreditch, one here in West End. I'm about to sign for a third. So yeah, plan is to keep growing it.
Today, Lahpet is known for its authentic and unique Burmese dishes that combine exotic Myanmar flavors with classic Chinese, Indian, and Thai influences. Let's talk about the menu.
Yeah.
Two things. What's your favorite item on the menu, and what's the crowd favorite? What's the popular? Is it the same?
I flip between dishes. You gotta say tea leaf salad is probably the most unique dish on the menu. There's not much comparable out there in other cuisines to it. The textures, the flavors. No one eats tea other than Burmese people. Pickles and eats tea, not that I know of anyway. So that is unique.
What's the most popular thing? What do people like?
Coconut noodles. ohn-no kauk. It's the all-round kind of go-to kind of crowd pleaser. I don't know what it is. People just seem to be drawn to it. It sounds friendly. It's coconut. It's broth. It's noodles.
Yeah.
It's
Who doesn't like coconut?
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you feel the need to tone down the Burmese-ness of it, especially for West End audience?
It's using modern cooking methods. So, for example, we wouldn't cook a sipian curry and leave a huge layer of oil on the top like you would see in traditional restaurants in Yangon or across Myanmar, just because that's not a commercial way of cooking. For hundreds of people every day. There's different. So take a tea leaf salad. There's different styles of tea leaf salad. Some of them in on the streets in Myanmar, they're really pungent of tea, and they don't use whole tea leaves. Sometimes it's minced pickled tea, and I mean I love it, but you kind of got to balance it a bit for the Western palate to make it accessible, but not bastardize it. Same with nappy, we put nappy in our curries. We want people to return, and we think that, as the first well-known Burmese restaurant out there, the idea has got to be to give people an authentic experience, but also make sure it's not, they're not put off by too strong of flavors when they first come in.
where would you like Lahpet to be in 5 years?
We've grown fairly organically so far. We've come from a market to a pop-up warehouse, Shoreditch, West End. So there's going to be one in Southish soon. Makes sense to go West London,
Very much.
North London. Could look at sort of offshoot concepts as the Lahpet brand as a whole becomes, more concrete in people's minds. You could specialize in a regional style of cooking, like Rakhine or Kachin. You could specialize in noodle bowls. You could open an offshoot concept somewhere. We've been looking at sites recently where sites are constantly coming up in Soho, but it's too near to here. But you could do an offshoot Lahpet concept in Soho. So there is room for diversification of the concept and the brand.
Noticing the obvious. Take action and execute on an idea first on a small scale, and then expand continuously. Looks like Dan has a strong vision for Lahpet's growth in the coming years, and for Asian food lovers, especially Burmese food lovers in the UK, that is exciting news.
So you've got cabbage, tomatoes, dried shrimps, and then you've got the double fried bean mixture, which is broad beans, butter beans, pumpkin seeds, chana dal, red peanuts, sesame seeds. It's a real layered salad. Yeah.
Alright, let's see how it tastes.
Yeah.
This is also my favorite.
Yeah, it's
I can never get bored of this.
a showstopper.
This makes me pull the Mark Ween's face when he enjoys the food.
Yes.